Time really flies, and it's hard for me to believe that CES 2025 was just 1 month ago. Now, you might recall I spent 2 days embedded at my arcade's booth at the show and published a number of first look and hands-on videos highlighting the huge lineup of new products my arcade plans to release this year. Now, firstly, a thanks. Those videos not only got tons of views from you, but also tremendous engagement in the comments section. I saw a lot of questions about the new products and tried to answer as many as I could. But now that the smoke is cleared, in this video, I'm going to run through every new My Arcade product revealed at the show, answer a couple of the most frequently asked questions about each, and share with you the expected release dates. All of that right after this.
If you're a Gen X grown-up, this YouTube channel is just the beginning. Go beyond gaming with a casual and humorous take on movies, music, TV, tech, pop culture, and more. Hear the weekly Gen X Grown-Up podcast anywhere you like to listen, or visit genxgrownup.com/pod.
Hey there, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John, and I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thank you for taking the time to click on this video. If you've been keeping an eye on My Arcade over the past 5 years or so, you probably have seen the positive trend I have that the overall quality and attention to detail they put into their gaming gadgets has been steadily on the rise. They really do seem to be listening to feedback from us, their customers, as each new wave of products rolls out. And this year, that wave is a tsunami. In all my years of covering My Arcade here on the channel, I have never seen them plan to roll out so many new and original products as we can look forward to this year. Now, with so much to get through, I want to go ahead and jump in. And since one of the key questions I often heard was, when can I buy this? Let's go through these chronologically in order of planned release date, starting in just a few months with items scheduled for release in June 2025. And the first up is the full line of Pixel Pocket Pro keychain players. Coming off the success of the Tetris Pixel Pocket from last year, My Arcade is releasing a whole line of 8 new tiny gaming gadgets, perfect for a quick hit of your arcade favorites on the go. The series will include Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Galaga, Atari 2600, a new Tetris, Mega Man, and All-Star Sports. Now, each one features a 2-inch screen, the necessary controls, and is powered by 3 AAA batteries that you provide. Expected price for each is about $25, and again, planned to roll out June of this year. For something old that's new again, last year's Pocket Player Pro units are getting new bundles, including a custom branded travel case, screen protector, lanyard, and charging cable included this time around. Now, these units are the same ones we saw reviewed in 2024, but in a new bundle for just $10 more, with each clocking in at $49.99. So all of that's planned for a June release, and there's even one more in that time frame that I can't talk about yet, but will just as soon as I'm able. Now, this is probably a great time to point out that none of the info here is written in stone. We all know from experience that dates can slip and features may change in the time between CES and actually hitting store shelves, but this is the best info I have as of right now. Let's move on a bit later in the calendar now with products that are scheduled for release in July 2025, starting with one I know lots of people, including myself, were excited to see, and that's the OutRun racing player. This is built on the bones of the well-received pole position racing player from last year and will feature the arcade versions, that's right, arcade versions of OutRun and the sequel OutRunners. It'll have that same 3.5-inch screen powered with AA or USB-C, and will have gas, brake, and music buttons, plus the gear shift and the analog steering wheel. Like pole position, you can expect this to street for $49.99 as well. Staying with the Sega theme, one new IP that got a lot of people's attention was Sonic the Hedgehog. The first of 2 Sonic players is expected here in July with the Sonic Mighty Player. This is a new interim size between micro players and mega players, which stands 11 inches tall with wood construction and a bigger 4.5-inch screen. Mighty players actually have a built-in rechargeable battery, and this Sonic unit comes with 5 Sonic games: Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2, Sonic CD, Sonic Spinball, and Sonic 3D Blast. Now, these Mighty players are bigger and include more features, and the price reflects that with a planned price of $99. Now, if you love Sonic, but not at that price, more coming later in the year, so hang in there. Up next are 2 Sega-licensed micro players, Golden Axe and Streets of Rage. Now, each of these will come with 3 games from their franchise and a standard micro player enclosure. That's the 2.75-inch screen with a bat-top joystick and powered by AA batteries or USB-C. Now, Golden Axe will have its namesake, of course, as well as Golden Axe 2 and Golden Axe 3. Streets of Rage, likewise, will feature Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3. Now, I'm pretty sure these are all going to be Genesis game ROMs, and each unit will be priced at $39.99. And then another Sega property, this time getting a joystick player, is Shinobi. You can expect the Shinobi joystick player to also have Genesis ROMs for Shinobi, Revenge of Shinobi, Shinobi 3, and Shadow Dancers. That's 4 games, and come in at the standard joystick player price of $49.99. Now, as I covered in a previous video, I'm a bit dubious about the vertical button layout for Shinobi, but I have not yet had a chance to go hands-on, so I'll wait until then before I judge. Now, we're still in July, but shifting now from Sega properties to a few others, including our favorite Dot Muncher, who is celebrating his 45th anniversary this year, Pac-Man, starting with the Pac-Man Mighty Player. Like the Sonic Mighty Player, this is the same 11-inch tall wood construction cabinet with a 4.5-inch screen. It has a built-in rechargeable battery and includes 6 Pac-Man games: Pac-Man, Pac-Land, Super Pac-Man, Pac-and-Pal, Pac-Mania, and Pac-Panic. And also, like the Sonic unit, expected to retail for $99. Now, if you would like to celebrate Pac-Man's anniversary but in a smaller unit on a smaller budget, we'll also be getting the Pac-Man Pocket Player Max. This handheld will include the same 6 games as the Mighty Player, has a 3.5-inch screen, and has the distinction, I think, of being the first Pocket Player ever released with a built-in rechargeable battery. Also included will be a case, screen protector, and charging cable for $59. Now, the jury is still out on that 45th anniversary graffiti artwork featured in these units, but that's not something My Arcade designed, but is actually the official 45th anniversary art style straight out of Namco, so take it up with them, I guess. Up next, 2 units that kind of came out of left field, but which I think are going to be big sellers from My Arcade, and that's the casino games. First up, the Casino Player. Think redesigned micro player, but with a slot machine arm and packed with 30 different gambling-style casino games. It'll have that same 3.5-inch screen, powered by AA or USB-C, and is planned to sell for $49.99. Under the same blind level as the Casino Pocket, this is somewhat more akin to the Max Pocket players than the Standard, featuring the 3.5-inch screen and built-in rechargeable battery. It'll also have the same 30 or so games, and even still includes a tiny, but still operational, slot machine lever on the face. This one will hit store shelves at $59 as well. And we're still not done. 2 more planned to drop in July. Next, we have the Pole Position Pocket Player Max. Now, if you liked last year's Pole Position Racing Player, this is a handheld version of that same unit with some clever design elements. Now, firstly, it will also include the arcade versions of both Pole Position and Pole Position 2, has that analog steering wheel with gas and brake buttons under your right thumb. As for shifting, the high-low gears are positioned under your right index finger in the form of shoulder buttons. This means you can steer, hold down gas and brake, and shift, all without taking your hands off of any of those controls. If this lands well, this handheld unit might be an even better way to race than that racing player. Being a Max unit, we have the 3.5-inch screen and internal rechargeable battery, and we can expect it to ship for $59. And finally, the last item in July is the Super Retro Champ. Now, I saw this at the show, but since it's designed to play physical media and I didn't have any SNES or Genesis carts with me, I wasn't able to try it out. Like the Retro Champ before it, the Super Retro Champ is a chunky handheld that will play your original Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, Mega Drive, and Genesis cartridges. It has a 4:3 aspect ratio 6-inch screen, a built-in rechargeable battery, and can even be connected up to your TV via HDMI if you'd prefer. Designed to play your old carts, the Super Retro Champ is comparable to the Atari Plus consoles and is planned to retail for $149. Now, we've made it through more than half of the announced products, but I haven't yet gotten to the biggest and most anticipated from CES. Those are up next. But first, I want to pause here for just a moment to make sure you know about our store. Over at GenXGrownUp.com/merch, you can find cool, nerdy designs from TV, film, gaming, pop culture, and more, and you can order those designs printed on hats, tees, stickers, pins, phone cases, all kinds of stuff. Now, each purchase not only delivers something cool to your mailbox, but also goes to help support independent content creation here on GenXGrownUp, just like this video. Please do keep us in mind the next time you're in the market. Okay, now we're sliding into August 2025, and if your cool gaming and gizmo budget isn't yet depleted, you have more options, starting with the other Sonic device I alluded to earlier, the Sonic Joystick Player. This is the now established joystick player unit featuring two games, Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. You get that 3.5-inch display and full-size ball-top joystick, and power is via AA batteries or USB-C. This smaller Sonic model is planned to run just $49, half the price of the bigger unit we talked about just a moment ago. Next up in August is the Pinball Player Pro. Now, I was able to take this little unit hands-on at CES, and it got tons of comments, questions, criticisms, and suggestions, so details for this really novel unit may very well change between now and release, but for now, the Pinball Player Pro has a 7-inch screen with big flipper buttons on each side and has 7 licensed tables from Atari's Balls of Steel pinball platform. It features wood construction and includes a built-in rechargeable battery, all planned to sell for an MSRP of $149. It's not the biggest or best pinball simulator you can get, but for what it is, it may be the best feature to cost value currently available. I'll definitely be keeping my eye on this one. Okay, my arcade saved the biggest and best for last, and so, going chronologically, I did too for this video. Also planned to ship in August 2025 are the new Atari Gamestation products. Now this includes the handheld Atari Gamestation Go, the bar-top Atari Gamestation Mega, as well as 2 options for additional controllers compatible with both the Gamestation Arcade Stick and the Gamestation Game Pad. Man, that's a lot of G's. Now, I did a full top 10 frequently asked questions about the Gamestation Go just a couple of weeks ago, so rather than retread all that ground again here, I'll refer you to that video linked right up here in the corner. The one thing not covered in that video in more detail is the Atari Gamestation Mega. Now, the Mega stands over 16 inches tall with wood construction and has a 10.1-inch display. The included software bundle is expected to be the same as the Gamestation Go, which means not only vintage games, but also Balls of Steel Pinball, Pac-Man games, and some Atari Recharged titles. Similarly, the Mega can be connected to TV via HDMI like the Go, and features that Smart Glow technology that illuminates only the controls required for the currently selected game. It's compatible with those same 2 extra controllers from the Go, and is planned to sell for $249. Now, we're rolling into Q4 of 2025, and the last of the new products we saw at CES are scheduled to release sometime in October. And that's the full line dubbed Gamestation Retro. Gamestation Retro is the branding for the combination of Bandai Namco and Capcom licensed games, all rolled into a variety of devices, of which there are 3. So keep in mind as I run through these that the software and controller options are the same across the line, just with different options for the base unit. Let's start with the Gamestation Retro Mega. This is the same physical design and features as the Atari Mega, but with a slightly different controller layout, some macro features, and of course the Bandai Namco and Capcom game selection. Oh, and speaking of game selection, this may not be final, but here's a photo I took of the game list from a preliminary product package. They advertise 200 plus games, so you can pause this if you need to and scan to see if your favorites are listed there. Also, like the Atari Mega, the Gamestation Retro Mega will ship for $249. Next up in the retro line is the Gamestation Retro Pro. Think the Atari GSP from a couple years back, but feature Bandai Namco and Capcom this time around. The Retro Pro has no screen and hooks up to your TV and includes 2 of the new Gamestation Retro gamepads. These should feel very familiar and comfortable if you've played any console released in the last couple of decades. You should be able to hook this plug and play up to your TV before the end of the year for $149. And then there's the handheld flavor, the Gamestation Retro Go. I know, this naming is a bit confusing, but hang in there with me, we're almost done. The Gamestation Retro Go has that Bandai Namco and Capcom game selection and feature set, but this time in a handheld akin to the Atari Gamestation Go. This unit has a big 8-inch 4x3 aspect ratio screen, built-in rechargeable battery, and again, that Smart Glow button illumination feature, and can also be plugged into an external display via HDMI. The handheld flavor of the Go line is planned to sell for $199. And finally, just a couple of accessories to mention. You've seen the Go gamepad, which can be purchased separately for $39, but there's also a bigger Gamestation Retro arcade stick. This big boy is compatible with all 3 Retro units and lists for $69. Now, as to whether or not these controllers are compatible with PCs or other devices, I hear you asking. The short answer is no, but the longer answer can be seen in that Atari Gamestation Go FAQ video I referenced earlier. More details over there. And that's it. Whew, we made it. If you have against all odds stayed with me all the way to the end, I thank you for your endurance. And here I'll once more provide a bit of a caveat that none of this info is final, and some details can and likely will change before we start seeing these products on shelves later in the year. Like, we know how it goes. Some products might not even show up. I don't know. We just can't predict the future, but stick around. As new info is available, I will continue to provide updates like these when they are warranted. But until then, I'll place links to more of my arcade coverage over my shoulders here and here. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video, and I cannot wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.